Hello and welcome back to another Audley's Brew Co. grain to glass video. And today I'm going to be doing the full Ulster version 2. I've mentioned it before in my previous video. If you go back, I think it was 2 years ago, I did the original full Ulster, which is a clone of 8 Degrees brewing as full Irish, which I originally done. It was nearly double the IBU, so I wanted to tone that back and bring it more into line with what the 8 Degrees version actually is. It's a very simple grain bill. I've got 4.8 kilograms of extra pale Maris otter. I believe in the one I done 2 years ago, I just used normal Maris otter, but I've gone for extra pale just because it's what it was a slightly cheaper or something. I can't remember why I went and changed it. Then 500 grams torrefied wheat, just because why not. If you remember back to the original video, there were a couple of problems that I had with it. Not problems as such, but a couple of reasons why it maybe went wrong or what have you. And one of them was that, so basically the recipe was the 60-minute IPA from the Bible. Das Bible. With the hops changed to coincide with the 8 Degrees full Irish hops. So there was a hop schedule there where you put something in at 60 minutes, then at 30 minutes, and then at every 5 minutes after that. So it just got really confusing. So I've changed all that. So now basically I'm doing 60 minute, 30 minute, 15 minute and flame out, which probably still is a bit too complicated, but it is what it is. So in terms of hops then, your 60-minute additions are 4 grams of Amarillo, 4 grams of Cascade. Your 30-minute addition, 4 grams of Amarillo, 4 grams of Cascade, 4 grams of Centennial, 4 grams of Citra. And at 15 minutes, 18 grams of Amarillo, 18 grams of Cascade, 18 grams of Centennial, 18 grams of Citra. And then flame out, 15 grams Centennial, 15 grams Citra, 11 grams Amarillo, and 11 grams Cascade. That should give me an IBU somewhere in the region of 73, which is much closer to the reported 65 that 8 Degrees get with full Irish, but it just tweaks it up a little bit for my taste. In terms then water, because I'm now one of those water additions guys, basically I'm using RO water, and my style, my target profile, I'm going to go for American Pale Ale. So Brewfather tells me to add 7.9 grams of gypsum, 2.4 grams of calcium chloride, and 3.8 grams of Epsom salt. We're going to mash at 65 degrees for 60 minutes. We're going to boil, obviously, for 60 minutes. Then I'm going to use Nottingham yeast this time, which is slightly different. I did use USO5 last time round, but quite simply, I don't have USO5. Nottingham's a decent enough yeast. It's high performance. We're getting 75% attenuation from it, so should be all right. We're going to do 18 degrees for 10 days. Then we're going to cold crash for 4 days, bring the total fermentation to 14 days. And then we're going to keg and carb the shit out of it, basically. Actually, probably not. It didn't need to be too carved. Sometimes it feels like I'm just chatting away to myself here when I'm staring into the camera and talking shit about beer and grains and stuff like that. Leave a wee comment down below. Join in the conversation. I will reply to every comment that's made, whether I do it on the next Homebrew Wednesday video or reply to the comment using text. And as Brewbit Rick says, it helps the algorithm. Thanks, guys. I've lost my scissors, so I've had to butcher this bag of grain with my knife. So here we go, it's now officially a brew day. both elements are turned off now. What I'm going to do slightly out of normal is, I can't see my face. So what I'm going to do is just let it cool down naturally for about 10 minutes. Then I'm going to fire the cold water through, chill it down and get it into the fermenter. So we finally made it, and this is what it was all about. Have a wee look at that. So we've got good condensation on the glass. It does have a bit of chill haze through it, but it got a good level of carbonation finally. A small head which has died off even since I poured it downstairs and brought it up. So on the nose, yeah, you've got some nice tropical fruit flavours, or fragrances I suppose. Kind of invites you in. It's kind of sweet to smell, to nose. Quite fresh, but it's not like the Nipa. It's not like other IPAs where, you know, it's pure tropical, pure citrus, pure. But there is a hint. There's a slight hint of that. I'm not getting anything sort of malty on the nose. Okay, so it's quite thin bodied, which I'm not at all surprised about. It is also quite bitter, which again I'm not surprised about. I'm quite pleased about. It does have a drying finish. Now, I said in the teaser video last month that I was expecting it to be as dry as a dry thing because the hydrometer spun to, what was it, 1006, something like that. It's not that dry, and I'll get to that in a minute. There's a slight hint of pineapple-y flavour, which, given the hops that are in there, I'm not sure where that's come from. But that bitterness, it's obviously I went overboard when I made this 3-4 years ago, and I had an IBU of, what was it, 120, something like that. It was 3 figures anyway. It was massive. I've brought this down to more, keeping in line with the original inspiration, which was of course the full Irish by 8 Degrees, which is single malt Marsala. Now, this isn't a clone either. I don't have a can of full Irish to do a side by side, and I decided I wasn't going to do one anyway because, to be perfectly honest with you, I decided I wasn't even going to bother finishing this video after the disaster with the gas and different things just going wrong. But I decided to go through with it anyway. I think it does need to condition a little bit longer. Now, it has conditioned for a bit longer than it should have in the fermenter on top of the yeast cake. I used Nottingham yeast, I think, so it dropped out. Like the yeast cake at the bottom was actually a cake. It's not just bits of yeast lying there. Like it was solid. It took a good bit of cleaning up to do. So it's not a clone. I used Maris Otter, extra pale Maris Otter, and it's not well. I suppose it is coming through a little bit on the white background there. It's very pale straw colour. Not quite as pale as say a Budweiser, but certainly a lot paler than the original. If you look back in the previous video I done a couple of years ago, you'll see it is darker. It's just standard Maris Otter, so it's a couple of marks darker than this. It's pretty bang on in terms of the alcohol content. I don't like doing this on a video anymore, loading up the computer. So we're coming in at 5.8%. I think the original full Irish is 6.2, so we're in the ballpark. So I'm thinking, I like that beer, but I think since I sort of declared that Full Irish is one of the best beers, in fact it wasn't even me that did that, it was one of my buddies, I've kind of moved on about my own tastes. It's tasty, it's nice. I mean I could sit and drink that, not too many pints I would imagine, 5.8%, but for example the boxing's on Saturday. I might sit and have a few pints and watch it. With this, I also still have a bit of Nipa left, and I have the rye IPA, the Red Brick, which it hasn't aged well, guys. It hasn't aged well at all. But the more I drink that, like I'm down sort of halfway, the more I drink that, the more I'm sort of thinking, I like it, but I've maybe finished with that now. I'm not going to do another clone of the Full Irish. So why did this beer be the driest beer ever with a rating of 10.04? The bottom line is it didn't. There's no way. Nottingham is a good yeast. It's good. You know, it does what it's supposed to do, but it's not that good. I don't think any yeast is that good. So if I go into Brewfather, the two key numbers are my original gravity, which Brewfather says should have been 10.59. I got 10.48. The final gravity should then have been 10.15, and I got 10.04. Now, those of you who have a head for maths, a head for numbers, will see the difference between 10.59 and 10.48 is 11. The difference between 10.15 and 10.04 is 11. I'm either reading the hydrometer wrong or it's calibrated wrong. And actually, with a factor of 10, well, 1.01, there's a good chance that I'm actually reading it wrong. I thought it was calibrated wrong when I was getting ready for this video, but I've just noticed that that's probably more likely to be a Jacko error. I like this beer. I like it. It's nice and cold. There's a good level of carbonation. It's not too far into any one style. I know mates who only drink lager would probably drink that. I know mates who like their IPAs would definitely drink that. So it's not too, it's not too crafty. I don't want to give it 2 thumbs up because that's what I seem to always give it. But no, it is a good beer. I am my own worst critic as well. I think every home brewer is their own worst critic, but it is a good beer. It does have a drying finish, don't get me wrong, it's not 1004. The hop schedule, despite the amount of hops in it, it is quite sort of low on hop flavour. You've got a slight biscuity kind of thing going on there, but the bitterness is just, it's actually well balanced. I wonder if I had used a darker Mars otter, the sort of standard stuff, how it would have come out balance wise. With the light stuff, it's probably, yeah, it's tasty. I like it. It's thirst quenching, it's refreshing. I could imagine drinking that on a hot summer's day. I can imagine drinking it, as I say, on Saturday night. Guys, so yeah, I've put out the Homebrew Wednesday video there on Monday, and covered a lot of things on there. Next up, the next video will be the Big Banana beer meal video, where I drink the beer that Stephen sent me. And then after that, it'll probably be, well, I don't have anything on at the moment, I've nothing fermenting. So I'll probably do a brew day. Excuse me. I'll probably do a brew day on Monday. I already know what I'm brewing, but you're just going to have to watch this space. So anyway, guys, what do I think of the full Ulster version 2? Yeah, I like it. It's definitely not going to win any awards if I were to enter it in a competition. It's probably a little bit too bitter for some people's tastes. There is a bit of an astringency there as well, which is just coming through towards the end. But it's refreshing. It's a drying finish. It's thin-bodied. It's a summer beer. It's not too heavy. At 5.8%, it's a little bit deceptive. You probably would sink these quite quickly, and then wake up tomorrow with a busting headache. So I'm going to finish this one, and then that's going to do me for tonight. So guys, yeah, if you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the wee bell, and you'll find out when the Big Banana beer taste video was coming out, which hopefully will be early next week. Cheers, guys.